What happened, Doug?
Well, this is like 30 years ago. And my ex-wife lost all her children, asked me to take them in. So I went through all their little FBI checks, checked everything, passed all their little things, took the kids in for like, it was only supposed to be 6 months till she got her drug program done. But then she never ended up getting it done. Then, little did I know that her oldest hated me, and she was programmed to hate me from the day one. And I found out later that the conditions that they were living in was the worst case in Orange County's history of sexually abused children. When I got the children in, I had to take them to 3 different therapists each. And then she gets in a fight with my girlfriend after all kinds of chaos with this chick. And then goes over to her friend's house. I'm just like, just let it go or whatever. And then she goes and she says that I touched her. Now, it doesn't matter what you say or what my girlfriend says. This is how it works out. They arrested me at 8:30 at night on a Sunday. They tried to do a little trickery on the phone. That didn't work. I was going to go down to the police station. They arrested me as I drove away from my house. Then from 7:30 or from 8:30 till like 2:30 in the morning, they ended up just badgering me, trying to twist their story into what the truth is. And then they kept clicking on the little recorder. I told him, good, you've recorded. But then he just kept turning it on and off, on and off, on and off through the whole night. Around 2:30, I got tired of it all. And I said, oh, just screw it. I'll just talk to my public defender in the morning, if I'm going to court in the morning, like you said, and I'll just resolve it then. I don't even want to talk to you anymore. Because he was just stuck on stupid or stuck on some mission. I found out other things later about them. And then, so I sleep maybe a half an hour or something, which is probably worse. I should have just stayed up. And then they dragged you into court at 8:30. I'm like, okay, who's my public defender? They had one guy on this side, one guy on this side, 2 big black guys. And I didn't care about that. Not until later, of course. And they they said, well, we already worked the deal out. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I haven't even got to speak. Don't I get to talk to my public defender? And they're like, well, we already got it. You're going to do 6 months in jail, and you sign this here, and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, no, I didn't even do this. This never even happened. This is all bullshit that she said. That all the stuff that she said is what, or it's all twisted. It's what she did. And he says, oh, it doesn't matter because the priests are all, hurting children back in 2001 or whatever it was, and that it's a witch hunt out there. And I says, what does that have to do with me? And he says, well, that's just the way it is. And I says, well, what's my bail? And he says, my public defender, which was this guy over here. And I was like, he started to say $100,000. And I'm like, oh, so, and as I'm thinking, he says $1 million. I'm like, what? So I need 100,000 and someone to sign? And then instantly the district attorney says, the judge just signaled me $1 million bail. Or no bail. And it went like doop, 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 no bail. I was like, what? So like, what do I do? And he says, if you don't take the deal, we're gonna give you 26 years and we'll make sure you do it. I was just like, I've been up all night, badgered all night, didn't get to speak to a lawyer, didn't read my rights, I didn't even get to speak with him at all, and they already have your life decided. Yeah, just by one person saying that. My girlfriend and I both told him what happened. So, I don't understand why. 2-1, well, what's the deal? That didn't seem to pan out either. So then they ended up going over to the little side and having a little whisper conversation, which I could hear him. And the public defender, the only time he ever spoke up at all for me was he said, oh, well, this shouldn't even be a registered offense. He's not going to prison. He's only going to do some time in county jail. And it's a wobbler. And after he gets out, he can probably just have it dismissed. And then the district attorney said, no, I need it to be a registered offense. And I'm like, I heard him say that, they're all whispering out. And then they come over here, and then the judge didn't want to do the deal. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just do a jury trial. I'm like, just do a trial. I'm not going to do this. I thought I was going to get out 6 months. The district attorney's handed me a card from some lawyer buddy of his that'll help me fix it. And then, boom, away I go. And that was it. And it doesn't matter what you say. What matters is one person, an angry chick, can just destroy your life with just her words. But what do we have? Right here. Here's all the people right here. This is my proof. Right here, she went to all her friends when she was 18 or 19 years old, and they all were hanging out with her, and she got all buzzed, and then she started spilling the beans, is what they said. And she told them how the cops helped her convict me. They were just like rolling right along. Yeah. She said it was easy. And then after that, she tried to go into the military. And I ended up getting a call from someone from the military. This is many years later, like 6 years later, 7, I don't know. And she called me up crying on the phone, saying, just like these girls, they all called me crying after they found out what she did and saying how sorry they were. Same with the military lady. Then I find out that her she was trying to get into the Pentagon, become a secretary. And then they came and asked Grandpa and everybody around, like a background check. So then Grandpa said, hey, why would I believe anything she says? She's never told me the truth. And Doug has never lied to me. He says, you should go and check this out because this is not true. And because they brought it up. So they went and polygraphed her. And then, boom, she gets kicked out of the military. Boom, her husband ends up divorcing her and getting full custody of the child. And then also, there's so you have her ex-husband. Also have Ann, my girlfriend of 30 years. She's been through all of it. You can go, the lawyer can call her or whatever. Got Glenn on here, but Glenn's gone. My son was on here as a witness too, but he is now dead.
From fentanyl.
From fentanyl, and the fact that when I was trying to, with her, and she had all her problems, and then I had to my son needed my attention, and we all focused our attention on him and not her, and she got all pissed off and bitchy, and took it out on me. And then, of course, there's the therapist. Went to the therapist. They said it was going to be 5 years, maybe longer. Who knows? They said, plan on being here a while. I'm like, oh, great. It's my brain. I'm like, oh, they'll probably convince you're something, even if you're not. So, and then the therapist at 6 months said, oh, I'm sorry for the system being so broken, Doug. After he questioned me 1,000,000 times, the same questions to make sure I was telling you the truth. And then said, we can't fix it, but what we can do is you don't have to be here anymore. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was a good thing because, the stress of that was pretty horrible. Talking about nasty things that you would never, ever talk about. That's just sick. And so I didn't have to do that. Everything seemed pretty good. Then, of course, I was too good on probation, so they had to, just put you on honorary probation and then come in right at the very last second, right before your probation's up, and they found a micro speck they couldn't even weigh. It had no weight. I don't know how you do that. They couldn't weigh it. The baggie was heavier, the little tiny baggie. And it was from before I ever, anything, it was in an old jacket that I had, and microscopic little thing, and that's what they violated me for, whatever. And I said, no. Well, if you're going to violate me, let's just open up the whole case, because I've found out new information that, that I have proof, that I'm innocent. And I don't know how much proof a white man needs, but what's this? 13 people, including one of them being the military itself. And now, years later, I had the innocence program. They were going to take my case, but they wanted 25 grand. It was cost, I guess, but it's like 75 to 100 grand to have a regular lawyer. So I'm like, I'll try to come up with that. So convinced my girlfriend to sell her a nice house, and ended up not getting quite enough money. Moved to Arizona. I walk into their office, because you got to go and register and do all their little jumping through hoops. I go in there and I'm like pretty kind of happy, not real happy, but I'm sure I can come up with the rest of the money. And then I tell her, oh, hey, I just got some information and now I have proof and I'm going to, get a lawyer and, get this all removed and get my acquittal. And then she jumps over and goes, I don't like you. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? I just got here. I'm just trying to explain what's going on. And she says, you are, what was it? Convicted in a court of law and blah, 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 blah. And I had to just back off and get kind of quiet. Like, oh, well, okay. So then she says, oh, well, and she's going to do an Amber Alert if Anne, my girlfriend that's with me, is not going to be with me. I says, well, I don't know. We're talking, work things out. I just made her give up her house, and she's not happy about that or whatever, and we'll see what happens. And then they went ahead and did the Amber Alert. Oh, and California sent something saying that they, that I violated and went to prison and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, I didn't. And then she's all, well, if you did, I'm going to this and that. And she never got the paperwork, but she went ahead and she did the Amber Alert because she needed to cover her own butt. Okay, so the Amber Alert was pretty horrible. On your phone, it goes to a 20-mile radius. Everybody around you, all phones. Emergency alert. Doug's here. Look out. Innocent man being screwed over by now. Was California. Now it's going to be Arizona. And so they flashed that around. I couldn't get food. I got crap in my food. I had to get water. I bought a property where I had a big water tank. So I had to go get that filled, and I had to go to California to get the water filled. They wouldn't fill it in Arizona. And everywhere I went, I got treated like shit. The what do you call it? The mail, where I put my mail. Went there, and after they did their Amber Alert, the lady started acting like a crazed maniac, squishing my stuff and slamming things. One of my inverters I bought a 5,000 watt inverter for the heaters for the trailer, and then she had thrown it on the ground because she damaged all of it, and you could tell it was her. I even complained a couple times, but they just back you off and say, no, you can't, you got to talk to the postmaster general and all this. I'm like, okay. And he says, oh, well, that's a big thing. And then all of a sudden she just disappeared and I wasn't there anymore. And she screwed up my credit on my thing, sending back mail that was saying, oh, you need to pay your yearly annual $129. Turned into like $800 for me 8 months later when I found out about it. So she's sending my mail back. That's, something to do with, I think you're not supposed to do that with your mail. And then now here we are. And the lady, when I was there, got all mad at me, and she could see that I was pretty sad about the whole thing. She says, well, at least you don't ever have to come here again and see me. And I'm like, what? She says, yeah, everything's done at the DMV. That's all you have to do. Go to the DMV, you do everything there. And I says, well, what if I get a job? Well, you'll get a income tax and all that, and we'll know where everything is and all that. I'm like, oh, okay. And so just do everything to the DMV, and I don't have to come in here? And she says, yep. And then that was it. Now, here I am, 7 years later, whatever it is, I don't know exact date. And then they come arrest me at my girlfriend's house. And I did everything like they said. Once I started coming from my house, coming over to my new girlfriend, because they chased away my other girlfriend when the Amber Alert went off. She had come home, and she's shaking and crying, and so are all the dogs. I basically had to push her out. My soul
That's
was
because
breaking.
the guys were running around the...
Right. After the Amber Alert, they're shooting guns off over my place and around the place and honking horns and yelling and screaming. They always showed up when I wasn't there, only when she was there. So that sucked. So now they want to...
So you told her to go...
So now I'm trying to... They're trying to put me in jail or re-up on my... put on probation. They've said all these things like, oh, I'm not registering, my cars aren't registered, and I'm not registering, saying where I'm at. I said, they said to register all my stuff at the DMV. And when I came over to my girlfriend's, I put all of my truck and my trailer and and my ID and everything as the mailing address. So we got both of them on there. My actual permanent address and my address here where I'm staying at my girlfriend's too. I can go back and forth. And so now I don't know what to do. I need a lawyer or someone that could help me, please. I'm not very good at making these videos. This is about as good as I can get. If there's a law firm or law group or Trump, what's up, man? You got like a quarter of the world's population in jail. let's say it again. A quarter of the world's population of people are in America, in their jails. 4 million people. I think it's 2.3 in prisons, 1.7 in all the jails, counties, lockups, all their other little things. It's close to $1 trillion. It adds up to like $800 billion or something, and then you add up all the other stuff. So I thought we were supposed to be the honorable ones, the good ones. And they say that there's 10 to 20% of the people in jail that are innocent. Well, when are we going to stop that? Who's going to step up for that? Here's what you need to do. Get rid of probation, get rid of parole, because all that is to entrap people. That's all they do. They don't try to help you or relocate you or get you acclimated to work or any of that. They just try to, how can they foul this person up? And that's it. And thank you very much. And if anyone can pass this on to anybody and all people, you can use it in your own video. You can make an extra video about it. It's all good with me. And thank you, and God bless.